So this
Is this how vision chart?
Vision
Yeah.
yeah. So you'll done the touch screen, you'll work your way down.
Oh, here we go.
I would start with this actually off. All right, so you'll start with it off. We'll talk about, okay, this is our integrated generator. I'm going to power it on up front with this power button right here. Take a second, we're going to get the intuitive logo. We'll get a progress bar.
I like the font of it.
That's why you could do recall first, don't you?
Exactly.
Derek was
Otherwise,
awesome.
it's easy to forget to do the recall. How are you guys feeling with the generator?
Better.
Decent? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that
It'll
that
be
had that
interesting to
message there.
What, this message?
That message that prompts here instead of up here.
Okay.
I think it's
Oh,
good. I don't
on
know that I
the-
saw that.
So
but maybe
we
I
saw it
did,
in
and I
our
just-
group yesterday because we actually had a vessel sealer that was, I think, defective, and it wouldn't put us. We actually did the 35 seconds, and we all saw it come up. Okay, so first thing I'll point out, and Eddie, I'll talk about
It's good to talk about everything.
So first thing that's going to pop up is our recall button. So essentially the recall button is going to recall the settings, the tissue effect settings from the previous case. So they can choose to recall, or at this point, as soon as we press any one of these tissue effect arrows, we'll lose our recall button and we'll manually select. So let's go ahead and press one of these cut ones. The recall button is going to go away. Second thing I'll show you is even though my neutral return electrode pad is not connected, my status is still red, I can still make my monopolar adjustments. Alright, so you can, even if you don't have your pad in the room yet, you can still get it set up, get your surgeon's preferences set up, and then connect.
Might try those brakes.
So, I don't know why our pad isn't working.
It works if you put it on a person.
Usually if you fold it over it works, but I'm dead.
Ooh, that's the one that was hanging.
There we go.
Ooh, that's the one that was under the chicken.
And do we need to
Really?
talk about?
I don't know. I hope not.
No, you guys did that in the lab, right?
No,
we did it right here.
We actually did it on. We actually did it right here, Sarah. I'm not even lying to you. I swear
Just
to
throwing it
God.
out there. Something I just
We
thought
did
of
it
it
right.
if you put it on.
Did you really?
Because I was gonna offer you my arm.
It's too late. It's already on.
It's just,
And
I
Sarah,
love
do we
it.
need to
She's
talk
like
about?
just owning it.
I'm gonna own it now.
Do
Yeah.
we need to talk about the placement of the
She should
neutral
egg.
electrode, like
No.
being long way
No,
with the?
no, not at all.
Chip,
Not
I'd give
at all.
Sarah.
It's
All right.
chicken lady.
It was Tiger.
if I had
Yes.
a chip, I'd give you a chip for that. I'm just owning
Thank
it.
you. Yeah, because I think it's important to show what it looks like both with a red neutral return electrode status as well as a green. So I'll kind of just work my way across and then we'll go through the tissue effect settings at the end. So right here, this is going to be our volume adjustment. So anytime we're putting energy on tissue, we're going to hear different tones, right? We have an auto effect, for example. So you can increase that or decrease that based on what your surgeon preferences are. Next, we have our information button. If at any point you're wondering what does this icon mean or what does one of these tissue effect settings mean, for example, what is auto cut, you can go ahead and you can scroll through and get a reading auto cut. Reproducible, gentle cuts, extra kind of tissue, etc. So let your staff know, you'll do the initial in-service, but after that point, if you're not there, you're not always going to be there, they can always go to the information button to get the additional info. I also think the icon info is really good. It lets them know, okay, if we do have that question mark, what does that mean? Where should we look? What do the foot pedals mean, etc. All right. Moving over here, we talked about this, our neutral return electrode status. It was red. Anytime we don't have our grounding pad either connected to the generator or connected to our patient, we're going to be red here. Just like you saw in the beginning, we are still able to make our monopolar adjustments up front. We can also make more adjustments once we're connected. Moving along the side, we have two bipolar receptacles, two monopolar receptacles, and our neutral pad. So two bipolar receptacles, our Da Vinci bipolar can go in either, and laparoscopic with foot pedal needs to go in the bottom. Anything handheld can go in either. Same with the monopolar, Da Vinci can go in either receptacle. If we have a monopolar that requires foot pedals, in the bottom only. If we have a handheld like the Bovi, it can go in either. The reason with the foot pedals, you get the Y's behind it, our foot pedals are built into the system. So if they do want to start or end the case laparoscopically, they can take out the pedals, and these pedals are already hardwired into the back of the core to correspond with that bottom receptacle. All right, let's get into our, yeah? Yeah, sure. So let's get into our tissue effect settings. So I'll start with the monopolar tissue effect settings. So over here on the monopolar cut, we have monopolar auto cut and dry cut. So first off, our default, should you use it? Okay, cool. Yeah, we're all done.
Alright, so 11 o'clock, we pushing back.
Cool. So our default is going to be auto cut. All right, auto cut tissue effect goes from 0 to 8, but at 0 there's no energy. So really minimum we need to be at a 1. Okay, that auto cut, you can best describe that as a pure cut, hot knife through butter. Very little coagulation, very little hemostasis, almost like that straight pure cut. Your surgeons will be familiar with the pure versus the blend. That's what they're used to hearing. If they want additional hemostasis or more coagulation, you can go ahead and switch them to that dry cut. So it's not our default. It goes from 0 to 8 as well, and that's going to be more of your traditional blend. Primary property will be cutting, so you'll still have a strong cutting property, but you'll have additional coagulation. Any questions on
Can you
those two?
shift back one?
Yep. So,
Okay, so it changed there a little bit.
yeah, so you could have 4 here, but until you adjust this, so if you're on 4 on auto cut, doesn't necessarily mean it'll be 4 dry cut. So they'll be independent. But really, if you want to keep it real simple, this is going to be a pure cut, very little hemostasis. This is going to be your blend, still high cutting property, but more coagulation. All right, next, monopolar coag. So the default is going to be force coag, which is our top one. You always know the top will be our default. Force coag, 0 to 4. So it's the only tissue effect that's going to bring us up to a 4. All the rest of them are going to be 8. So the force coag, the best way to describe this is kind of a broad and superficial spray. All right, so it's that standard coagulation with very little cutting property. All right, so cutting property is held back on this. So if your surgeon in particular is expecting, or they typically use their monopolar blue pedal for that cut blend, you're going to want to take them off force and put them on Swift, because they're not going to get the cutting properties they expect on the force. So again, broad and superficial spray. And actually, if you guys look carefully at the icon, you see how it's kind of going wide? If I switch it to Swift, you'll notice it's going to go deeper. See how it goes deeper? So force is going to go wider. So clinical application there is your gallbladder off your liver bed, for example, where you're not going to want to penetrate too deeply into the liver. You're going to want to stay surface level. Next, Swift coag. So again, if they're expecting the cutting properties, go ahead and switch them over to Swift. Swift is going to go 0 to 8, and it's also going to be a blend. So you're going to have some cutting properties and also standard coagulation. So think top is more your pure. This is your pure cut. This is your pure coag. The bottoms are your blend. This is your blend, more cut than coag. This is your blend, more coag than cut. Does that make sense? Does everyone follow that? Okay,
Yep.
perfect. And then we have foot pedals here on the bottom, like we talked about, that correspond with our bottom. Foot pedals that correspond with our bottom. When it comes to bipolar effect, the good news is we only have one choice here. It's soft coag, so that's just your standard coagulation that your surgeon is used to. Where they do have a choice, they can keep auto stop on or off. So auto stop on, the system will measure the impedance of the tissue, and when the tissue is fully desiccated, energy will stop. They'll hear audible tones and energy delivery will halt. Okay? This is absolutely personal, so your surgeon, you can actually try it with and without and see what they like better. Some of them will like the fact that they get that auto stop, so they have less charring in the tissue, less thermal spread, less tissue sticking to the instrument tips, and some just want to burn away, right? Burns their heart's desire, in which case you can turn that off. And that one goes from 0 to 8. And I think that's the bio. Do you guys have any questions on that? Did that help?
Yeah, really good.
Okay.
That was awesome.